Hello, welcome again then to the Olivet Discourse, and this time we're looking at when will this happen? Session 2. We're primarily looking this time at Jesus' words to the disciples when they asked him, when will this happen? And joining the dots. By this I mean we'll be looking at what scriptures refer to the church and which ones refer to Israel, and get some idea of a time scale. There really is much confusion over this passage. As a result, many have tried to fit the parable of the wise and the foolish virgins into church history, only to find that it just doesn't fit. The reason that it won't fit is that it doesn't refer to the church, but to Israel during the 7 years of the Great Tribulation, the time of Jacob's trouble. One of the things I will seek to clarify is that this parable relates to the Jews who will be here on the earth at the end of the 7 years Great Tribulation, but just before the second coming of Christ with his bride. By seeing this, we will get our end time theology into some order, which will be a relief to many of us. Matthew 24, verses 3 to 13, then, and this is the Olivet Discourse. As Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately. Tell us, they said, when will this happen, and what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? 3 things he's asking. So he answers, watch out that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumours of wars, but see to it that you aren't alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these things are the beginning of birth pains. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you'll be hated by all nations because of me. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other, and many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So, when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one on the housetop go. Let no one on the housetop go down to take anything out of the house. Let no one in the field go back to get their cloak. How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Pray that your flight will not take place in winter or the Sabbath, for then there will be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again. If those days had not been cut short, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. At that time, if anyone says to you, look, here is the Messiah, or there he is, do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I've told you ahead of time. God's eternal plan has always been a bride for his son, a people for himself, fully prepared for her bridegroom. More on this if you want it. Take a look at this year's summer school where we discussed the need for the bride, i.e. the church, to get ready. The primary purpose of our salvation was that Jesus might have a bride who loves him and is compatible with him. That takes the spotlight off of us. and comes as a bit of a shock to those who think God's plan revolves all around us. This inconvenient enlightenment, I know. If it doesn't, it is specifically for his Son, the Son of his love, under whose dominion the Father intends to bring all things. This is all about Jesus. It's not about us. So let's take a look at the plan as we presently understand it. God's eternal plan, a people for himself, who will be a fit companion for his Son. So now we need an overview of the Bible. Genesis 1, 3, and 1 to 7, and 6, 1, 3 to 7. 1 to 16, the creation and fall, grace before universal judgment, a period of approximately 2,000 years. Genesis 12:1 and the call of Abraham, history of the Jews commences. This period covers approximately the next 2,000 years of history. Exodus, the captivity, the books of Ezra, Esther, Nehemiah, and Daniel refer here. The first advent, Jesus' birth. The Messiah has come, his death and resurrection, and the gospel accounts. Then we move on to Pentecost and the birth of the church. 2,000 years plus, still going. John 20, 21 to 23. Acts 2, 1 to 4. Matthew 24, 32 to 34. The rapture of the church. Church history ends with this, the rapture or catching away of the church, 1 Thessalonians 4:15 and 17:2, followed by a resumption of Israel's history in the Great Tribulation, a period of 7 years split into two 3.5-year periods. Daniel's 70th week refers here. Daniel 9, 24 to 27, Matthew 24, 21, Jeremiah 30, verses 4 to 7. Then we have the second advent, and the millennial kingdom begins. The literal 1,000-year reign and rule of Jesus on the renewed earth with the bride at his side. It is then that Satan is bound for 1,000 years and Israel is restored. Many scriptures here. Zechariah 14:4, Revelation 20:1 and 2, Matthew 25:34, Isaiah 14:1 to 3, Jeremiah 17:22 and 31:31. 36, 37. You'll get all of these scriptures in your notes, by the way, if you're desperately trying to scribble them down. Isaiah 54 and 60, 20 to 22. Amos 9, 14 to 15. Zechariah 13:9 and Micah 4, 1 to 5. At the end of this period, we have the Great White Throne Judgment, which we find in Revelation 20, 1 to 15. This has nothing to do with believers. The Great White Throne is the place of judgment of the unbelievers. The believers' works will be judged at the Bema seat in order for them to receive rewards for the deeds done in the body, i.e., the things he called you to do and you did in obedience to him. And this is all followed by the eternal state, a new heaven and a new earth. We find that in Isaiah 65:17 and Revelation 21:1. A new earth, Isaiah 65:17, Revelation 21:1. A new Jerusalem, Isaiah 65:18 and Revelation 21:10 to 17. 10 to 27. And for completion, now we need to see the things that never ever change. The character of God never changes. The condition of mankind never changes. Since the Garden of Eden, man has been born fallen. The angelic conflict is still the same and will be until Satan is locked up during the 1,000-year reign of Jesus on the earth. His destiny never changes. It's the lake of fire for eternity. The means of salvation never changes. It is through belief in Jesus Christ alone. Human responsibility never changes. Every person who ever lived will one day have to give an account of how they've lived their lives for or against God. Human destiny is the same. Those who have died have either gone to be with the Lord or to a place of torment, waiting the day of judgment at the great white throne. After that, awaiting them is the lake of fire. Sovereign Ministries has a Passing the Baton teach on what happens when a person dies if you want more on this subject. And my grateful thanks as always to Roger Price for the stuff that's contained in that. God's principles, they never change. And here's a really interesting one. He always removes the righteous before bringing judgment. Hence the rapture of the church before the great tribulation. Dispensations. These are time periods. So we have the pre-Israel period, the Israel period, the church period, and Christ's eternal reign and rule. I hope this has been helpful and not confused you too much. But as I say, notes are available and I will send them out to those who are interested. God bless you. See you next time.